What's going on, you guys? We are back for another week of the Foundational Health series. This time we're talking habits, routines, and the environments that you put yourself in. So I will give you a quick overview of what we have talked about in the previous week, 6 weeks here, and then we'll jump in and talk about habits, routines, and our environment. Alrighty, so over the last 6 weeks, we have talked about goals and guidance to setting those goals, how to actually form goals that are going to help you get the results you're looking for. It is the start of the year. We are trying to improve our health. Almost everybody has a health-related goal for this year. So this foundational health series is going to break it down for you, give you the most actionable stuff that's going to actually move the dial, grabbing onto that low-hanging fruit so that you guys can be successful this year. Over 90% of people fail on their New Year's resolutions each year. So I'm putting this series together to help you guys with that. We've talked about goals and guidance. We've talked about nutrition, sleep, breathing, movement, recovery. Today we're talking about habits. That really comes back to our goals and our guidance. If you guys haven't seen that one, that is a must watch. It teaches you how to take what's in your brain and what your daily actions are, align those two, and then we break down how to actually set goals. I have a bunch of worksheets that I can give you guys on how to set those goals and like write them down, break them down piece by piece so you can actually be successful with them. If you guys want access to those, send me a message over at peakhealthrevolution@gmail.com. I will send you those worksheets on goal setting. Let's get into talking about habits in just half a second here. Quickly, for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Logan Grundy, owner at Peak Health Revolution, where I work online to help hikers and other outdoor adventure athletes go further and faster in the mountains, doing that pain-free so that they can do it year in and year out, so they can have epic adventures every single year for the rest of their life. I'm also a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner in Vernon, British Columbia. I work at Habitat Health, where I've helped over 1,000 patients alleviate their pain, regulate their nervous system dysregulation, and just improve their life overall. So that is the quick one on me. Let's get into our habits here, you guys. Let's scroll down here, zoom us in. All right, so week 7, habits, routines, and our environment. We need to make sure, number one, above anything else, that we're aligning our goals with our actions. So this is what is a common theme that we see happen with people and why they fail. So for simplicity, because it's a ton of people's goal each year, let's say you're trying to get out and go running more or lose some weight. Now, if your goal is, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds and start running 3 times a week. That's your goal. That's what you're imagining up in your head. But your actions of what you're actually doing in the week don't line up with that. You're planning, hey, on the weekends, I'm going to go out drinking with friends and I'm going to watch a movie on this night. I'm not going to get up early to get my run in. I got to work, whatever. Then we're never going to accomplish our goals, right? We're never going to drop that 10 pounds. We're not going to consistently run 3 days a week. We might do it for a week or two, but then we drop off. And the reason why that's happening is because we're taking what we say we want in our head and what we're doing on a day-to-day level doesn't match up with that thing. So we have to look and say, hey, if I'm a person who wants to lose 10 pounds and run 3 days a week, but I'm eating a whole bunch of junk food and I don't even own running shoes, how am I going to get to this goal? Well, you're not, right? So you need to make sure that what you're doing on a daily level aligns with it. Hey, I'm eating healthy. I put my shoes in my car so I can go for a run right after work. I got a gym membership so I can actually go run on the days that it's rainy or snowy or cold so that I don't have an excuse. So that's what I mean by aligning our goals with our actions. If you guys haven't seen week 1 where we talk in depth about goals, go watch that. We break that down a little bit further. When we're talking about our actual habits, though, of like, hey, I have my goal. I've broken down my monthly, my weekly, and my daily tasks that basically need to get done to reach this goal of set milestones along the way, which is all in week 1. Then now I need to actually build the habits, the good habits, and break the bad habits. We are much further ahead putting in a good habit than trying to remove a bad habit. So we kind of just want to layer over the bad habits so that it's harder for that to happen. So good example of what I mean here is, hey, I know that I'm having ice cream every night after dinner, and I know that's problematic for me, or a bag of chips and a movie every night, watching some Netflix kind of thing. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to remove Netflix and remove the chips, instead of taking those two bad things out, if we just put in good habits on top of that, oftentimes we're going to end up countering those bad habits anyways, and they'll cancel out and we'll kind of forget about them. So what I mean here is, instead of like, you don't say, hey, I can't have the ice cream. You say, hey, before I have that ice cream or that bag of chips, I have to eat half of my plate has to be full of vegetables at each of my 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's going to make it so that you're full enough that by the time it gets to eating your chips at night with Netflix, that you're like, maybe I'm only eating half a bag, or maybe I just don't even want them tonight. I'm too full from all the vegetables, all the fiber, all the fullness of those vegetables. So, hey, one thing, big positive, I'm getting more vegetables in, but the other one is I'm so full from the fiber and the bulk of those vegetables that I don't really want the chips anymore, or at least I want less of them. And after time, you kind of, that dwindles away. We've broken the bad habit, we've replaced it with that good habit. Instead of saying, hey, no more Netflix, maybe we say, I can watch Netflix, but I'm going to stretch or foam roll or work on my body while I'm watching that instead of just slump into the couch. So again, putting a good habit over a bad habit, and then maybe eventually we say, hey, I just feel so good doing that. How about instead of after that, after dinner, I'm going to go for a walk instead of Netflix, and then I'm still going to come back and do a bit of stretching and maybe watch Netflix then, or maybe not. So think more about adding good habits than trying to remove your bad habits. Now, when we're talking about habits, we can take obstacles and we can either place them in the way, or we can take as many obstacles that are currently in our way and remove them and add as much detail into that picture as we possibly can to help us achieve those. So what I mean by this, let's take running as our example. I want to run 3 days a week. If it's a good thing that we want to do, a good habit, so running, that's good. What we want to do is remove as many obstacles. So maybe you finish work and you say, I don't have my runners, and whatever the thing might be. I don't have my shorts. I don't have my water bottle. I'm kind of hungry, so I'd like to eat before. All of those obstacles that we're putting into our way, we remove those. So we say, hey, right after work, I'm going to go to that little trail that's near my house or that's near my work. I already am going to have in the morning put my shoes and my shorts into the car, filled up my water bottle. It's all in the car, and I'm going to make sure I pack a snack that I can have in my last hour or two of work so that I don't have all these excuses that are keeping me from going for that run. We're taking obstacles out, we're making sure we're prepared for it, and we're putting detail in. The more detail you put in around the things you want to do, like, hey, I get off work at 6, at 6:15, I'm going to start my run. I'm going to make sure that I have this, this, and this in my car. I'm ready to go. I'm going to go to this trail. I'm going to use this app to track it. And I'm going to invite this friend, whatever it is, right? The more stuff that we can put in on top of it, I'm going to have a reminder on my phone to make that thing actually happen, the more likely we are to stick to that. And then on the opposite side of things, if it's something that you're trying not to do, we just pile obstacles into the way. So let's say, you like having a chocolate bar, or let's go back to the chips and Netflix in the evening. If you know that you're really bad and you want to stop having chips every night and watching Netflix, next time you go to the grocery store, don't buy any chips. Which means it's not saying, hey, I absolutely cannot have chips, I'm going to punish myself. We're saying, hey, I just don't have them here right now. So if I want to have chips tonight after dinner while I watch Netflix, I now have to get in my car, drive to the store, buy the chips, bring them back. And that gives you basically what we're looking for is trying to put gaps and pauses in between like stimulus and response. Stimulus, I want the chips. Response, if the chips are in the cupboard, very short period of time, we just grab them there in our mouth before we know it. If we go stimulus, I want chips, I got to grab my keys, go to the grocery store, buy the chips, take them all the way home, then open them and eat them. There's a big gap in there, and somewhere along that, there might be enough inconvenience that you just say, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Like, hey, I got to go get them. I'll just watch Netflix and not do the chips. Or like, even if you break and you're like, yep, I'm going to get them. You drive to the store, maybe before you get out of the parking lot and you walk into the store, you're like, I told myself I wasn't going to do this. And then you just drive home. Or maybe you buy the chips, but you're going to end up eating less chips if you put more obstacles in the way. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about obstacles going in the way of habits that you're trying to break. So there's 3 things that will heavily affect your habits and routines that you're trying to put into your life. And these are physical things. These are like, so think about like your physical environment. These are digital things. So think about getting onto social media, getting onto TV and that stuff. And then social, who you actually hang around with. So if you improve these 3 environments towards your goals, so this is back to what you dream of and what you're doing on a daily level, what that environment looks like for you. If you line those 2 things up, things are going to get a whole lot easier for you. So physical environment. If we want to, let's say we're only getting 4,000 steps in a day. You have a little Fitbit or a Apple Watch or something and you see, hey, my steps are low. I want to be someone who goes out and does hikes all summer long. I want to be able to do a 5, a 10, a multi-day hike this summer, and I also would like to lose a little bit of weight and just feel less stiff and achy. Then your physical environment, let's say you work from home, you want to maybe put a little walking treadmill desk underneath you. Or maybe you don't work from home, but in the evenings, you're at home and you're like, hey, I'm always stiff and sore after my long day of work. If in your environment you have the foam roller where you're constantly seeing it, or the ball, or the band to stretch, or whatever exercise stuff you're going to do at home, if you put that in the way, even just putting your running shoes at the front door as a reminder that, hey, I want to get out and go for a run or whatever. When you keep seeing those things are popping up, they're constantly in your environment, you're way more likely to use them, right? Like I keep my yoga mat right here. I can see my foam roller. I got a little balance board. I got a ball. I even have a Pilates ball, which is new for me. I keep all these things really handy here, basically in my living room, so that I'm constantly reminded, like, hey, I'm in an environment that's surrounded with the stuff that I can use, and you just grab it and it's ready to go. Versus if you tuck it into the basement or into the little nook under the stairway, and you have to get by 3 boxes to get to it, you're probably not going to use it, right? So making that physical environment rich with the things that align with what you want in the coming year here. So if that's nutrition, instead of like we talked about getting rid of that bag of chips, maybe it's I always keep a bowl of fruit in the middle of the table. What is the likelihood that you start eating more fruit? Probably a lot higher in 2 ways. One, it's just going to be there for a quick grab. And two, maybe you see that your bananas are starting to go bad and you don't want them to go to waste. So you say, hey, you know what? I'll just grab a banana right now. Even though I wasn't normally going to, I see it's getting those little brown spots. I'll end up eating an extra banana this week. So that's what I'm talking about with physical environment. Try and build that up so the things that you want your life to look like are there and available for you. And we're talking digital, you guys, we are hooked on this. Companies literally spend like millions of dollars every year to get us addicted to these things, whether it's Netflix, Disney, Amazon Prime, just even like your your TikTok, your YouTube, your Instagram, those things, they're literally designed, and they spend a ton of money on marketing and psychology and all of that to keep us hooked into it. So we need to fight back hard against it. We need to put timers in. We need to have app blockers. We need to just shut our phone off. We need to put things in so that our digital environment is a little bit better. And that's not to say that we can't leverage our digital environment to our benefit. So instead of getting on TikTok and watching dumb videos that are not valuable to us and we're just dopamine hit after dopamine hit scrolling, instead switch over to YouTube, put on a longer video, something like this, and learn something. It doesn't have to be about this stuff either, right? Like, hey, maybe I'm just interested in history. You're so much further ahead, and it's so much better for your brain to have to concentrate on one thing for a while and get something valuable out of it. Of like, cool, I now know something about the Roman Empire that I didn't know before, versus just dumb little cooking hacks and things like that, right? So get rid of the digital stuff. Start tracking how many hours you're actually spending on these apps and trying to reduce that. That is huge. Especially, we talked in, I think, week 4 or 3 there about sleep and getting away from that tech in the last hour. You guys are going to improve your sleep a ton if you're getting off of the digital stuff in that last hour before bed. And lastly, you guys, our social environment. Who are we actually hanging around with? And this can be a really hard one. If you are, we'll use the example of trying to drink less. Maybe you're doing dry January and you actually want that to carry over into the rest of your year. You want to drink less this year than what you have been. If all your friends do on the weekends is drink, like, hey, come over, have a fire, we're going to have some drinks. Hey, we're headed out to the lake, we're going to have some drinks. Hey, after work, you want to grab a beer. Hey, after hockey, you want to grab a beer. Hey, all the things I do with the people I'm social with are around drinking. It's going to be really hard for you to drink less this year than last year. And this can apply to so many different ways. If you are trying to get out and run or hike more, and most of your friends don't run or hike, but you have one who does, latch onto that person, try and hang out more with them. Maybe you'll meet some of their friends that also do that same stuff, and you'll build this community of like-minded people. If you are hanging out in a community that isn't like where you want to go, the chances of you going there are very low. If you hang out in a community of people that are doing the things that you want to do and are maybe even further ahead than you, you are going to go in that direction. So your physical, your digital, and your social environment are hugely important to building these habits and routines. These habits and routines that you do on a daily level are what builds up into weekly actions, monthly milestones, and then your big overarching goals. So your big goals come down to what you do on a daily level. What those things that you're thinking about have to align with what you're doing each and every day. And you guys, the very last piece I have for you is this tiny piece of advice. Start small and stay consistent. I see this so often is people are like, hey, I haven't been to the gym all of last year. This year, I'm going to go 5 days a week right off the hop, and I'm going to completely transform my diet. And I'm going to start journaling every night, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change my finances and start saving more. And they just like massive amount of goals, and it completely falls apart. You are much further ahead starting small and little and staying consistent. And the consistency part with habits is so important. Where sometimes it's not about doing the thing, it's about building the habit early on if we're really struggling. So what I mean by this is like, hey, if you're trying again to get out and go for a run 3 times a week, at the start it might be like, hey, all I have to do is lace up my shoes and get to the little trailhead that I'm going to go running on, or the path that I'm going to go running on. And if I just get there, that's it. I don't even actually have to run, or I'm just going to commit to running 100 meters. And then if I'm busy and I have other stuff, I just turn around back to the car, go home. That is building the habit. Building that habit and doing that consistently, you will end up doing that thing way more often. So if it's like, hey, all I have to do is get to the trailhead, do 100 meters, come back to the car, chances are you're going to hit 100 meters and you'll be like, well, I can probably at least get a kilometer in, or 2 kilometers, or whatever it is, and then come back. Even if you're like, hey, I'm really busy, I don't have time for it. So start small, stay consistent, and then let it snowball over time. Once you've locked in for 30, 60, 90 days with that habit and you crushed it, then up it and take it to the next level. Instead of starting huge and feeling like a failure, start small, gain success, gain momentum, and then continue to pile on top of that. So that's what I got for you guys this week. If you guys have any questions, again, it's peakhealthrevolution@gmail.com. Next week, we are going to be talking about the extra kind of bonus piece here, the tools that I think have the biggest impact on our health outside of these things that are just like, hey, this is stuff that we can be doing for ourselves. Week 8, we're talking about tools, we're talking about supplements, we're talking about things you can go buy, like foam roller, sauna, PEMF pad, whatever, all of these different things that are available to us. We're going to talk about a bunch of those and talk about which ones are most valuable, which ones I think go the furthest for you if you do want some of those bonus things. Tune into that next week. And I think this is an important thing to add in there because it adds so much momentum to our life. Back to habits and routines. If we're excited about something, we're more likely to use it. Once we're doing that, we build the habit and away we go. So you guys, next week, talking about the tools that we can use to help kind of support our health as well. Thank you guys for joining me over the last 7 weeks here now. And again, peakhealthrevolution@gmail.com. There we go. That's what I got for you guys. We're wrapping it up. Have a great day.